Hello, everybody. It's great to be here one more time today. My name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, founder of GSD, Get Shit Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which is sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an HR tech company I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. We believe at GSD that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. We are also a family office. With that, I'd like to welcome all of you to this show, Top Global Startups, where I explore the people building the technologies will shape our future. Today's conversation is one that truly matters. AI is moving fast. Children are growing up in a world where AI is not optional, it's ambient. It's in their homework, tools, their games, their creative platforms, and soon their personal assistants. So the question becomes, how do we protect privacy while empowering creativity? How do we build AI that strains identity instead of replacing it? Our guest today is uniquely positioned to answer that. Robert LoCascio is a technology pioneer and AI innovator, best known as the founder and longtime CEO of LivePerson, which he scaled into a global conversational AI leader and took public on NASDAQ. After nearly 3 decades leading at the forefront of AI communication, Robert has shifted his focus towards something even more important: building safe, human centered AI for families and children through ventures like Kid Company and UAir AI. His mission is bold: to build AI that reflects our best selves, protecting identities, preserving privacy, and empowering creativity for the next generation. With that, I'd like to introduce Robert. Hi, Robert.
Hey Gary, how you doing?
Fantastic. It's good to see you today. So you built LivePerson into a global AI leader and took it public.
Yes.
What made you pivot towards children and family-centered AI?
Actually, I left 3 years ago, and after 28 years of building this company, LivePerson, and I was the inventor. Just claimed fibs. I was the inventor of chat on websites. So that's what I did in 1997. Like I said, took the company public. But 3 years ago, I decided that, like yourself, I'm very mission driven, and although leading in the contact center space and enterprise and all that, I'd done that. I felt that AI was taking a path that I thought was not going to be the only path. And I felt like I could create an alternative where AI is something that can serve us, where it's humanity first, it's our kids first, it's us first, and the machine helping us be our best selves, be our best, let our kids be their best selves versus what we hear today, which is existential threats to humanity. It's taking our jobs. It's all about these giant companies or soon to be giant companies taking all of our data, our identity, and then making money off it. And I just felt like there's a path I'm going to create. I have resources and I have knowledge, and I want to go out and create these. And I created two companies, one called Kid and one called URAI.
And was there a specific moment where you realized how AI for kids needed completely different architecture?
Yeah, because the thing is, everything that's out in AI today is a very adult-driven technologies. That's why we hear about kids engaging with, let's say, even OpenAI or another technology, and they may hurt themselves, like they're asking themselves questions, and we've heard of kids killing themselves, and the AI helps them do that. So I just felt like AI. I have three young kids, ages 9, 8, and 5, and I could see that these kids, they have great imaginations. Obviously, they're engaged with digital technologies and devices. Unfortunately, most of it is garbage. Like what my children are being exposed to is quite negative. They're on YouTube Kids, they're in Roblox. They get exposed to a lot of things that people are creating for them to get them to click and scroll. And as a parent, I want my kids to engage and create. And so I thought there's got to be a better way to create a device. And this is the device called Kid. And it allows children to be their best creators, have tutors, and take the power of AI in their hands, but safely. Like that's a big thing. Like we developed the models and everything for 4 to 12-year-olds. These are not adult models. These are for children only. And that's really what is important here. The foundation of it is about safety.
How's it different? Is AI from kids for AI for adults, right? From a design philosophy standpoint.
The big part is adults. Let's just now. I'm going to make an assumption, but most adults understand the path of their decisions and their questions, and most children don't because they haven't developed enough and had enough experiences. So one of the big things on in the technology, for instance, if a child is talking to like one of our, we have like these little characters, and if they talk to a character and they say, "Look, I'm having an issue at school, or friend hit me or did something, I've been bullied," like the normal AIs are like, "Let's talk about it," and they all want to like just keep, "Oh, that's right, let's keep talking about it." But in this case, we want to off ramp the child to a parent. We want to off ramp the child to someone at school. First, it's parents. And if the child says, "Look, I'm not comfortable talking to my parents," fine, then please find someone at school. But we immediately go to like, how do you off ramp the child in the right ways? And then how is a parent involved with the device and the AI so that they can see what's going on? They can understand what their child is creating and doing or not doing on the device. Or so that's a difference where you got to put a lot more guardrails, and you have to give the parents a hand in the ability for the child to grow with the technology, because they're not adults. They don't know any better around a lot of things.
I took a Skinnerian approach, operant conditioning. I tokenized goodness, and then I used a Rogerian client-centered therapy. I mean, it's actually being tested actually today. And so I built this stuff because I said there's got to be another layer on top of it. And one of the things is, because a lot of the engineers are very pragmatic, they don't look at it as a clinical psychologist, a humanistic psychologist should. And that is, how do you create empathy and compassion at a level where it really cares about your well-being? And what you're saying, Rob, is that how do you care about it? And it needs to be hyper personalized for age specific, right? Kids have questions. I wouldn't want to, for me, I don't know about you, but I'm using these large language models that I have, and I'm asking questions, and you learn in a hybrid kind of way, kind of like your grandmother loves you and cares about you unconditionally,
Yes. Yeah. And that's how I say too, I think you're hitting right at it. Like the highest level, or what I think everything these technologies do, is create more community connection. Like that's the highest part. Like, can we answer question? Does it allow people to come together? Does it support us in the things we're doing? Are we learning and being educated by it? Or are we being attacked by it? Right. And so I'm in the camp you are, that AI should be provided to ourselves as adults and children in a way that is supportive to us and our needs and what we're trying to accomplish. Not like I said, there's this concept of it's they're going to replace us, and I don't think they can't replace a parent. You know what I'm saying? They should not replace a parent. They're not going to replace a teacher. I understand they can replace teaching, but a teacher also has a role. Good teachers. So.
Well, I mean, and the other thing is there are the senses to be able to get down through and understand, how somebody's reacting, and how you can create that love and support to help them, unleash their full potential. And it's critically important. And sometimes parents don't even have the time to do it, right? Because they're too busy working, trying to pay for the health insurance. They're too busy trying to, put food on the table. And it's a very complex, integrated problem that we got to solve. And Fritz Perls said that Gestalt is some of the parts equal the whole, and that's exactly where we are.
By the way, Gary, that's the reason. Like, this device for you and I is good or neutral or whatever. We get a lot of power out of it. When you hand this to a young child, you're weaponizing a lot of things, that you're giving them access to things. I see with my kids. That's why I started the company, is that I saw my kids' behavior change. I saw they were like, my 5-year-old's cursing and stuff because he saw something on YouTube Kids where somebody said, "Oh, that's effing funny," and they laugh and they use the F word, and my kid's using the F word because he doesn't know any better. So as a parent, we need time. Why do we have, like, Jonathan Haidt wrote the book, The Anxious Generation, about how these devices are really, when they put the front camera on, suicide and depression when like a hockey stick. So why do we hand these to our kids? We need a break in the day. We're busy. We're not bad people. We just got a lot going on. If we can get some reprieve, but we're using this device, it's like a crack pipe to our kids. And I understand it. I've done it because I didn't have an alternative. there is no alternative. What am I giving my kids? This or nothing. And
Well,
nothing is
the other thing is they need to compete, Rob. It's hard to compete if you don't have it. I wrote a paper recently and I talked about infobesity, right? There's 176 zettabytes of data on the planet Earth today. And if you look at it, if you took DVDs or CDs and stacked them one on top of another, go 128 times between the Earth and the Moon, and growing at 69.6% per year. So the problem is infobesity. In Rob's world, think about it. In Rob's world, you got about 300,000 items in your personal cloud. The entire web in 1996 was 257,000 websites. You, Rob, have more information in personal cloud than the entire web. The problem is Rob's world is following the same trajectory. By that, it means doubling every year. In 5 years with the Internet of Things, you're going to have 10 million items. The problem is we're inundated. In psychology, we call it learned helplessness. You have so much stimuli, you freeze. We're getting to that point, even with email. I mean, you got 7 email addresses or 8, and somebody says, "Did you see my email? When did you send it? I sent it 2 days ago. Where did you send it? I think I sent it to your corporate. I don't know, maybe Gmail or Yahoo. Let me check. I can't find it. Send it again." The data's killing us, and we got to have tools to be able to make sense of it. Just like you said, with your company, to be able to look at it for kids in a way that's age related. At the same time, you don't want to stifle. If somebody's got an IQ of 160, you want to make sure you're supporting it.
Yeah, and this idea that I know there are, I got it. There's households where there are no access to internet, no digital. I get that, but my kids are going to be my kids are going to be an AI generation. They're 10 and below. They need to embrace the technology and understand. I put one of my kids on one of the vibe coding tools the other day, and he's 7. He just turned 8 yesterday, and he made himself his own game, a really complex war game and he did it. It took a couple hours for him to do it, but he did it, and he started to understand about prompting. He started to understand oh, you got to say this to get this out of it, and that's what I want my kids to do, because they have to remain competitive in the market. My kids.
I agree, and if they don't, there's going to be 2 classes of society: the people know how to orchestrate AI, and the people don't. And the orchestrators you can already see it happen right here in the Valley. The people that understand AI are financially moving so far ahead of everybody else, orders of magnitude ahead.
Yes.
And what did Sam Altman say? The first $1 billion company because of AI, and that's coming. A single person company because of AI. So let's talk about it. What does a healthy AI ecosystem for a 10-year-old look like in 2035?
What it really looks like, and now that we have the product in the market, is there's 2 aspects. There's the one aspect is that the kids do like to talk to characters. They like to talk to buddies, and they like to have these relationships. But through those relationships with these buddies, they want to create, they want to play games, they want to learn, they want to do things. So I see a world in which the children can create this world. Now it's either created for them and they're buying into that world. We have prepackaged buddies in worlds, or they're creating their own. On our platform, they can create their own buddies. And then where we're going to allow, we don't do it right now, is that they can create the whole world around that. I've got to learn something in math. I have to do something in science. I want to play a game. So I just see it starts with a very personal experience. The buddies represent something is listening to me and tailoring the experience to me. It's not just a general interface. It's something that is personalizing for who I am as a kid. And that's where I really see it going. And then that buddy can support me, in many different ways.
So do you think that AI for children should be aligned to family values rather than corporate algorithms?
Well, that's the big thing. Today, and it's one of the things that I kind of identified in my work here, is that it's not the device and it's not social media that we're bothered by when it inflicts harm on our children. It's that there are people in the world who do not have the same values as my wife and I do. And we have in all families, I think, have very similar values. And then there's a bunch of values differently, as in, first is safety for our children. We don't want our children harmed, right? That's either physically or mentally. Okay. Then above that, we want to provide for our kids, right? We want our kids to eat. We want our kids to be educated. They're a base level, the hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Brandeis University.
Exactly. So just take Maslow as, so what's happening is that there are people out there who I don't think they even have children. And, I haven't done a survey, but there are people creating content to get our kids to just engage so they can make $1 off of that. There are 20 million of them. There are 20 million people making content right now in social media. They need to make a living. Like half of them are kind of like homeless. I've met a lot of people like this. Not judging them, but like they're not legit. They're just making content because they got to keep something going on and make rent. There are people who have a higher power to it, like Mr. Beast. He does a lot of good things. He is trying, like he's got his whole nonprofit stuff. There are people who are self-actualizing their brands, but most are just trying to get your kids to scroll and click over stuff that's connected to your child's reptile brain. My kids, when they see violence, they get excited. When they see someone hit someone and they're laughing, they think it's funny.
It's funny because when I was growing up, we used to watch those Three Stooges. And I don't, and I look at it now, but to be honest with you, I still like it. I still like it because it's kind of funny.
Yes.
The stuff they were doing, but it was pretty violent, but people didn't do violent things, in those days.
That's right. And when you think about the Three Stooges, or even like Roadrunner when they blew someone up in a car.
Yeah.
That was about as far as it goes. I mean, the things that go on now is like they had to push it all the way through to the other side, and it's constant. It's not just like there's two shows.
Now it's different. It's like you're inside of the game. It wasn't like you were playing a game and you were, Shemp or Curly or Larry or Mo, and you were doing this stuff and putting ice tongs in somebody's ears. You were going down through, and you knew it was funny. It was just not real.
But now it looks real. It's like the kids, they just don't know what. And then the problem that we see coming up is AI, because the ability to know reality, it's going to be very distorted. So, for instance, like during the holidays, there were a bunch of companies, especially from China, that wrapped like Chinese models into teddy bears, and kids are talking all sorts of stuff. And there's like 4 or 5 senators that basically said, we want to ban all AI being used for chatbots and toys. And it's reactionary. And I think what they're saying is correct. We shouldn't allow this to happen, but we have to create some standards to it. I'm saying, as an industry, because it's a little bit Wild West. And I'm afraid that kids start to see videos they think are real. They're not real. They don't know anything right now.
Well, I don't think, the problem is, like all of us, the kind of videos that are out there today, you don't know what is real and what's not real. It's getting to be,
But I have my kids, like last night, literally, we were making Sora videos. My kids and I were making videos on Sora, because I want them to understand. Like, I want them to understand that they can put themselves in a video, and they need to know that right now. So they're young and they laugh, but now they have a perspective. They know, is that real or not? Because I saw myself in a video.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. So, what responsibility do founders have when building AI for children, in your opinion?
Responsibility?
Yeah.
I think, I'm a parent.
Do they have a responsibility? Because just like you said, you got those homeless people out there. All they care about is making a living, because they got to pay for their health insurance, they got to pay for their rent, and they got to pay for their food. So, they're at the bottom of the hierarchy of needs, and they're just trying to survive. So how do we go down through? I mean, this is a philosophical question, right? And make it so that people care.
I think, look, Gary, I think in the end, and this is my hope, and this is why I'm going to work and building these 2 companies I have, that the brand of AI, the ultimate brand of AI, will be around these values, around, how do we support a human being to be their best? And that there is no brand of AI yet. There is companies that have functional things like OpenAI and Anthropic and others, but there is no Nike of AI. There is no Apple of AI. And eventually, I believe in capitalism and markets, is that if you do the right thing, especially with this technology, people will buy from you and they will support your company, and ultimately you will win. And that will dictate what the brand of this type of technology is. We don't have a brand of it yet. There's Google out of the internet. There was Amazon for e-commerce out of the internet. There are brands that got established. But when it comes to AI, it's the Wild West right now. So my hope is that there's a bunch of companies like mine that are out there, and I know there are, that want to establish brands that support humans to be their best, and not try to replace them or harm them or trick them or get them to click more or extort more value out of them. It's a little give before you get situation I think we're in today.
I think, this goes back to some of the values we used to have when I was a kid growing up, and I'm sure you had the same thing, growing up. We had a different mentality about, about life, right? And I remember, you know, it was different. It was different. We had really strong values, and sometimes I think kids feel like, my kids, right? My kids are a bit older, but they feel like they're lost. So we're coming up to the top of the show, Rob. Um, so closing thoughts, and how do people get a hold of you? And if you want to, I don't know what your schedule's like later today. If you want to talk, I'm happy to talk. Or
Yeah.
Great. I have to do something at 3 to about 3:45, but after that I'll be free.
Yeah, I'll ping you. All right, how long are you in town for, by the way, too, since you're down?
I'm gonna leave Friday. I got to go back, and I got a meetings down in Palm Beach. So
it'd be great to grab a coffee with you.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk later on.
But anyway, at the closer on your closing questions, you can get us at kidco.ai is the website. We have our product. It's shipping, but more importantly, it's like join the community. It's like, as a parent, we're all in it together. We're fighting this battle. We're all busy. And I like the change we're trying to make is not going to happen by one person doing it. I'm catalyzing it, by building a company and having product and a community around it. But as a parent, just join up if you want to become part of something that we can make some change. We can beat them. Like we can create alternatives to all the stuff we hate. We just got to be in the game. So that's how I look at it.
No, it's fantastic. Robert, this has been an incredibly important conversation. AI is not just a technological shift, it's a cultural and developmental one. The way we design it today will shape the identity, creativity, and trust for generations in the future of the human race. And we need to do it now and not wait. So I appreciate you taking your time. To all of you out there, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us one more time for GSD Presents Top Global Startups. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. I'll be back to you again soon with another exciting edition. Thanks, Rob, and thank you, everybody.
Thanks a lot, Gary.